Welcome, fellow YouTuber. This is episode 5 of our Let's Play series on Cold Waters. We are in command of the USS Omaha SSN 692 Los Angeles class submarine, and we are attempting to prevent a Soviet Wolfpack from counterattacking NATO forces. Without further ado, let's jump right in. We find our prey near Andoya. Our XO reports a depth of 150 feet on a heading of 206 at 10 knots with local conditions consisting of rain with a very strong surface duct and very strong thermal layer to 176 feet. We identify a Soviet Alpha and Juliet class submarine and are able to fire on them without being detected, and consequently are easily able to dodge their counter torpedoes that were launched and slip back below the waves undetected. World News is reporting our actions indirectly as we have allowed for increased safety of NATO convoys to resupply the ground forces, thus increasing our momentum in winning this war. Consequently, we are awarded the Silver Star Medal for our unwavering devotion. However, the war isn't over, and we quickly are given another mission concerning tracking down a Soviet sub with a Spetsnaz Special Forces team. We will stay just north of Andoya in our favorite ambush point where the water gets very deep and wait for our prey. They arrive unaware of our presence. We are able to identify a Foxtrot and a Victor 3 Soviet sub and move in for the kill. Most likely the Spetsnaz are on the Victor 3, although we will engage the closest enemy first and move in on the Foxtrot and fire. Unfortunately, we fire our Mk-48 torpedo and the wire breaks right away. We can only hope that it goes active in time and hits its intended target. The Foxtrot in turn has fired 3 SET-65 torpedoes against us, and we are going to dive deep to try to avoid them. What ends up happening is our own Mk-48 locks onto us and just barely misses us as we close on the Foxtrot, hoping that it relocks on them instead, and it does, sink her. That was definitely a close call. So now, to find the Victor, we fire on their sonar bearing and dive again to avoid being hit with a torpedo. Their SET-65 torpedo gets so close to hitting us, but actually ends up relocking on the already sinking Foxtrot. However, they slow down and prepare to fire on us again at almost point-blank range, and we are forced to slow down and do the same. At this point, it's down to whoever gets moving the fastest. We end up hitting them right in the port side, most likely in the command cabin. Another SET-65 torpedo relocks on the Victor and then hits her on the bottom of the seafloor while one continues to follow us. Now we simply just need to run this torpedo, run its life out and have it self-detonate, allowing us to continue on to our next mission. At this point, the Soviets are feeling the pressure and are going to send out another Wolfpack to disrupt NATO convoys in the Atlantic. We are being tasked to find this Wolfpack of subs and destroy them. As we are moving full speed past Norway, we are detected and intercepted by an unknown contact and are forced to slow down and switch to ultra-quiet mode to ascertain what we are up against. After some time, we are able to determine that it's 2 Curvax. We fire on one and we are prepared to fire on the next one until we have a Test-71 torpedo land right on top of our head, and we have to go to full speed to outrun it and give away our position quickly. We are going to get this torpedo off of us and try to get close to one of the Curvax, but the torpedo stays committed to us, but then detonates just before impact. We quickly reattempt to position to fire on them, but the Curvac fires 2 more torpedoes at us, and we fire one back and nail them. However, as we are trying to dodge their torpedoes, we end up hitting the aft section of our sub on the ocean floor and damage the ship to the point that we lose power and begin taking on a lot of water. We were so close to victory, but if we are going to survive, we are going to have to turn the engine off and go into ultra-quiet mode and hope we don't get relocked with the torpedo. In a stroke of luck, we are able to have some of the enemy torpedoes relock onto the Curvac and hit them for a second time. An issue here, though, is how close we are to where the Curvac is, and it looks as if though she may fall and land on us depending on which way the stern section falls. Luckily, it falls away from us, and we repair our engines and slowly begin to slip away from that torpedo that's just above our heads, and we are ready to fight some more. World Knows is reporting that the Allies are back in West Germany and that due to our actions we have cut off supplies to Soviet forces at the front lines. We will have to continue the pressure we have applied and see if we can end this war before Christmas. Near Andoya, our favorite ambush point, we encounter an enemy subgroup consisting of a Delta 3, an Oscar, and a Victor 3. We don't seem to be detected by them at all, but they do fire on us once we fire at the Delta 3. We are quickly informed, however, by our sonar officer that it's actually a Victor 2 that we just fired on, and all we have to say to that is, my bad, bro. Now we're going to try and dodge their torpedoes and hope ours hits them before they hit us. We are going to create knuckles and drop decoys to prevent the enemy torpedoes from locking onto us as we are continuing to close on the other two subs. We get closer to the other Victor and we exchange torpedo fire and begin the torpedo evasion dance once again. However, we strike true first and another Victor submarine hits the bottom of the oceans thanks to us. One would imagine that we have a fierce reputation at this point with NATO and Soviet forces, something like maybe the USS Omaha, aka Grim Reaper. Anyways, we notice that the Oscar-class sub is trying to evade the battle, and we increase the flank speed to try and catch them, and actually lose sight of them for a moment. However, we fire on their last known bearing, and even though it's at a great distance, we are able to lock onto them. Although the Oscar submarine is commanded by a particularly skilled captain who continues to dodge our torpedoes, so we fire another at them so that they have more to juggle. Now we just have to sit and wait and watch the show. We realized that they were trying to use our own tactic on us and began to close on us again, hoping that our torpedo would lock onto us instead. Now they are heading to us and have a torpedo right behind them. We are going to instead fire another torpedo at them, and they will have multiple torpedoes coming in from multiple directions and will most likely not be able to dodge this time. After our actions in this particular battle, we are awarded the Distinguished Service Medal due to our steadfast devotion and superior tactics in battle. We are informed by World News that NATO convoys are increasing and having less engagements, and more are arriving to Europe to push back Soviet forces. We have completely run out of armaments and must return to Holy Lock to rearm and refit. Once that's done, we receive our new mission, and that's to intercept a transport convoy that is trying to resupply Soviet forces. We will head to Soviet-controlled waters at flank speed and engage any and all units on the way. We run into a surface contact and identify two Corvette-class ships. We fire on both ships right away and they return fire. As we begin to dive, we actually hit the bottom of the seafloor at low speeds and thankfully don't damage the ship. Ends up being a rookie mistake, but we are able to sink one of the Corvettes without an issue, but the other manages to dodge our torpedo and begins to close on our position using active sonar. We will have to wait for them to get a bit close and then fire another Mk-48 torpedo at them, and this time they don't detect it until it's less than 1,000 yards from them. This time we get them and they are unable to dodge or outrun the torpedo. We will continue to move towards Soviet naval bases to complete our mission. We come in contact with a Riga and Grisha class patrol boat, most likely trying to prevent us from returning and wreaking havoc as we have before in Murmansk. We fire on both contacts and tell our helm to go back emergency to avoid getting locked with enemy torpedoes. The Grisha is no match for our torpedo and is split in two, and now the Riga realizes they are coming up against a US sub and turns to flee, but we already have a torpedo on their tail and it's closing the gap quickly. We are able to catch up to them and sink them easily. We are getting ready to return to our mission when we get pinged by another contact. We identify this ship as one of the smallest Soviet ships. They are coming right at us at full speed and are too close to fire cruise missiles at, so we must use another Mk-48 torpedo on them to finish this fight. This particular ship is extremely agile and isn't very deep into the water, so our Mk-48 keeps missing it, but we have to do an extra loop on the next pass so that we can get right on their tail, and this time we sink her. We will quickly service the ship and search for more contacts and then return back to our mission. If you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, and subscribe in order to give feedback and open discussion up on videos of this nature. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed the video as much as we did in making it, and until next time, stay safe.